Gearhead 327. This is a 2010 Xterra 4x4, and we're going to change the front brake pads on here. I've got the wheel cocked out here so it's a little easier to get to. I think these are, what are they, 14 millimeter? Like that. Let's go ahead and undo them. This one down here. Now guys, check your rotor. This one actually looks in pretty good shape. It's got a couple marks in it, but I think it'll be fine for my purposes. If you're unsure, of course, buy a new one, or take it to a certified mechanic. But these, once you get them loose, you just pull that thing out right there, and this one will come out. And there we go. We'll put those back the way we had them. I'm going to set y'all up on the tripod here so you can see this. Okay, and this thing, now if you're changing the rotor, then you got to pull this plate off here, and there's two bolts here in the back that are going to come out. But we're not changing out the rotor this time. We're just going to change out this little thing right here, and this just, you can get a, let me get back a little bit here. You can get a screwdriver and just grab it like that. Now you need to catch it because you don't want it to fall. And just set that right like that. Now they make a special tool that presses those back, or you can be cheap like me and use a C-clamp. So what you want to do is put it on there like that. It's got a little groove in there, and just kind of put it in dead center, and see how it's there on the back. Well, I just have to show that to you. And very slowly. Now guys, I've seen videos of people doing this, but they have a tool that does this, a different type of tool. I forget what it's called. It probably costs a lot more money than the C-clamp. But you need to take the cap off of the master cylinder. Let's just take a look. Now I've already done the other side, and someone has put too much fluid in this thing. But you got to take this off. If you don't take that off and that pressure builds up in there, it can mess up your master cylinder or cause problems to your brake system. I did this on I think it was a 1980 Pontiac Grand Prix one time, and I didn't pull the cover off, and it blew out the rear wheel cylinder. Of course, it had drum brakes on the back. This on the front is what I was working on, but I just figured it would be worth a mention. So let's very slowly, you want to kind of just press that in there. That thing will retract. You want to go too fast, and being that someone put so much brake fluid in the master cylinder, we want to make sure that it's not overflowing. That's why I have those rags up there, because the other one almost overflowed on the other side when I retracted the pistons in the caliper here. Nice and slow. You don't need to get any rush about this. You go up and get this one pushed in, and we'll look at that fluid. Alright guys, it doesn't take a lot of force to bring that in. Let's go up and look at our fluid again. And we can see that it has raised it up quite a bit. It's right there at the top. When we push in the other one, it may overflow, so I may want to take some of that out of there. Now you can get an eyedropper. I guess you probably shouldn't be sticking these rags down in here, guys, but this is the way I'm doing it. Y'all can do it your way. They're clean shop towels. There's a filter basket here. You can see that little filter basket. So we can get some of that stuff out. Alright, let's Let's try the other one, see how that works out. Put y'all back on the tripod. Take this loose. You might have to tie this up with a piece of wire. You don't, like I said, you don't want it to fall, and you don't want to break the these little hoses here, which you probably want to inspect. If there's any damage whatsoever, or if they look bad in the least amount, go ahead and replace them. They're not that expensive. It'll be a lot cheaper than it'll be a lot cheaper to replace them than it will be for it to fail on you at a say a special moment in time out there in traffic. So, all right, very slowly. This, like I said, don't get in any rush. I mean, what else do you have to do anyway, right? I know we're all busy. Alright. Look up here. Okay, from over here, guys, I can tell it's not overflowing, so we're good on that. Just gonna put that right there. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that on there, and I got something to hang on to. All right. Next thing we need to do is we've got these little pads here that need to come off. Now you can use your hand or, whoops. Alright. These will just come off like that. And guys, whenever I do something, I like to take it off the way I pulled it off. Of course, if you don't want to come off, you have to force it. There we go. You see these probably still had a little life on them, but we're going to go ahead and change them out, and that way we don't have to worry about them for quite some time. So we'll put those on the ground. You guys, what you want to do is get the old brake pads and put them up next to the new ones, and make sure they're the same. These are pretty darn close. Got the pins on them and everything. Now I'm going to go ahead and change these clips out. I guess if you don't have any, you're not going to change them out, but I just happen to have some new ones right here. So while we're here, we'll go ahead and change that out. Like I said, if you set that on the ground, same way you pull it off, you can't get confused. I had a friend one time, he wanted to do a brake job on his Jeep, and he called me up, and he went over there and he took everything apart before I got over there, and then there was no reference and remember on how it went back on there. He was a real jerk, by the way. So those go in there like that. See if I can show this to you. Okay. So this one is going to come off. You can see that came off just like that. That's the new one. That one just goes back up in there like that. And then, guys, this one's got this little thing on it. Now my new brake pads only had one of those on the only had one of them, so I don't know what the reason for that is, but that's what we got. So you want to make sure you don't put them on like this. All right, they want to go round with the rotor. And you stick this thing down in here. All right, and it just kind of you just kind of force it on there. And then we got this one. You can see that. And it's got that little springy thing in there. You just twist it in. just kind of just force it in. See, and we're almost done, guys. Now you can check these pins right here. See how they're moving. I don't know if that's in frame or that's not in frame. These pins are nice and lubed. You can look at this one. Now you can pull those out and be real anal, and you can put that grease on there, but I would clean the old grease off. You don't want to mix this grease with whatever the new grease they give you is. But these are in such good shape, I'm just going to go ahead and leave them like that. Now some people grease this down here. You can do that, I guess, if you're having a squeaking problem. But I'm not going to grease these because all that's going to do is pick up sand and stuff and get that all up around this, and that sand may actually bind these things from sliding together a little bit. You know, this caliper is going to overpower pretty much anything like that. But all right, now let's put that little bad boy back on there. Of course, we're gonna take this off. And this just goes on just like this, guys. See, it just fits right in there like that. And then you want to line up where those pins go. We'll take one of these bolts. You be careful you don't drop it. And get that started. And I would definitely start with the top one. If you start with the bottom one, it could fall over. It could. Alright. We'll reverse our wrench. I guess you should use a torque wrench on this, but I'm just going to do it by feel. Y'all can put the specs down in the comments and all that, what it's supposed to be. Alright, well, kind of got cut off there. My SD card kind of filled up. So, that's on there nice and tight. This, I'm going to have to take a little more fluid out of there. Really, guys, it's supposed to be down to right there, that maximum. Okay, it is way overfilled. So if you never change out your brake fluid and then you push in your pistons on your calipers, it'll put the fluid right back up to where it's supposed to be, minus maybe just a teeny bit. So that's the bad thing about adding fluid when it's low and you go into a brake job. You got to remove it. So guys, I'm not going to bore you with you know, putting the tires back on. So I'll go ahead and get those mounted, and then we'll go for a road trip or road test. All right, well, maybe I'll bore you all a little bit with putting these things back on here. Alright, I always start those on there finger tight, get them threaded on there, because if you put this on and they cross thread, you have a lot more problems. Alright guys, it's worth mentioning right here, if you're going to do this type of work, you need to make sure you properly support the thing. I've got the jack stands here underneath the frame, okay? And when I jacked it up, I used some wood blocks and put it underneath the frame. I didn't put the metal of the jack right on the frame. It'll cause damage. Now, I have seen a lot of people, they will jack the car up and they'll put it right underneath where the floor is or the body. They're not going on a frame number. So anyway, I just thought that would be worth worth mentioning. Okay, well, I guess we're ready for a road test. Well, there always seems to be something else. Guys, whatever you do, do not forget to put this little thing back on here, or you're going to have a mess. And this this brake fluid, it loves to eat paint. So make sure you put that back on your master cylinder. Okay guys, Gearhead is right here with the customer. Say hello, Mrs. Customer.
Mrs. Customer.
Yeah. What I like to do, guys, is you know, I could go out and drive it all day long, but it's not my car. I don't drive it, so I don't know what kind of quirks and everything it has. We're right here at 579 and I-4, and so how would you say it's running?
It seems to be running fine. It's braking fine.
Okay, well, guys, my wife tells me a lot of times that she, you know, the mechanic never believes what she says as a woman and all this. And I'm like, you know, I've done a lot of service work, done work for people, and anytime a woman said she had a problem, I always investigated it. You know, they know what they're talking about. But anyway, we're doing this little road trip here.
They don't always do that, but some of them do.
Yeah. By the Flying J. Okay, so you give it your seal of approval?
Yeah, so far so good.
And the check engine light is off?
Check engine light's off.
Alrighty then. Alright guys, Gearhead 327.